Guys, I'm going to go ahead and go over the next step in the Futurism project. But I want to, while I have the screen pulled up, I want to do number 4, just read it to you. And it says, create a background that shows movement and rhythm. This is done by drawing lines that mimic the movement of the figure. So when I look at my project, I have traced my figure 5 times. You have to trace it at least 3, but I did 5 because that's what fit well on the paper. Now, the next step is to get an eraser, or you could use the back of your pencil, whatever works, and you're going to decide which figure you want to be first or in front. So let's say I want this figure to be in front. What I have to do then is I have to erase all of the lines inside of that figure. Actually, I wanted this one to be. So what I'm going to do is any lines that intersect that, I'm going to erase. So right here, her arm, it goes in front of this other figure. Okay, so I move to the next one. And her arm, the second figure, is going to go in front of this person. Then I move to the next one, and I'm going to erase all the lines that intersect. So you have to decide which figure is going to be in the front. And it usually is either the first or the last figure. Okay, then I go to the next one, and if you notice her finger, there's an intersecting line right here too. So I erased it, and it got a little messed up. Not that it doesn't look a little messed up anyway with that mitten hand. Okay, then I go to the next one. I erase any of the lines that go in this figure, and there's a little bit on the edge here. So this one didn't have that much erasing. Some of yours will have more erasing than others. Okay, the next step would be to draw the lines that create rhythm and movement in the background. So when I did my first one, I created lines that had an arc because I felt like the way the body was positioned was suggesting a movement that went kind of backwards or this way. So when I look at this figure, there's a couple things. So the arm, if you notice, the body is arced this way. So I could literally take a line and I could arc it over like this because it mimics the way the body is moving. I also have a line that kind of goes like this. So if I wanted to make a line that kind of curved over like that, that would be fine too. So the goal here is to look at the body, see which way that the body is moving, where is the direction of the movement, and then mimic that. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to use this, and I'm going to draw in the background kind of lines that mimic that. Now I could make these lines equally spaced apart. I could make them some closer together and further away. It's kind of up to me. So I'm just going to make it varied depending on where it's at. So make sure you don't draw through the figure because the figures are still in front. And this is even more curved over here. So I feel like, maybe I should make it more like this. It's really hard with it being in the background. So this is a little bit more of a severe curve, but that's fine. And you might have to play with this a little bit and kind of see how it comes out. And if you don't like it, erase it. Oops. But don't draw through the figure. The figure has to be in the front. Some people have even preferred to Sharpie the figures before they start, and that would be fine. But remember, you have to do something in the background. Sharpieing the figures is optional depending on if you are doing colored pencil or oil pastel. I've had some people Sharpie the figures and do oil pastel, or Sharpie the figures and do colored pencil. It's kind of up to you. If you have a Sharpie and you want to do it last to kind of see how it looks, you can. Or if you are ready and you want to do a Sharpie now, that's totally fine. So let's just say for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to do Sharpie. Now, if you have an extra fine point Sharpie, you could use that if you wanted to. I like my figures to stand out a little bit more, so I'm going to go ahead and use a regular one. Remember, if you pause with a Sharpie, it will make like a dot. So don't pause with this Sharpie if you can avoid it. So I would go through and outline it. I would not outline your lines in the background because you want your figures to stand out. You don't want them to compete with the background. So don't outline the background. All right, so let's say I have all of these done, and then I would start the next video, which is the colors. So I will go over that once you have all of this Sharpied. Again, you can't see as much detail when you use this thicker Sharpie, so if you prefer to use a thin Sharpie, that's totally fine with me too.